Hello again, precious friends. Thanks for joining Aunt Patty the Carnivore Hippie. Christmas is fast approaching, and with Christmas, the advent of a new year. And a lot of you are probably thinking about making New Year's resolutions. Well, the last New Year's resolution I ever made and kept was to stop making New Year's resolutions. But does that mean that I'm never using or not using the advent of the new year as a starting point to challenge myself? The new year, 2 years ago, was the advent of the beginning of my first carnivore challenge, and it has changed my life. Not as profoundly as keto did, but it has definitely improved my life in ways that I did not expect. So with the advent of a new year, I start thinking about basically what it means to be alive, what it means to, as I say, move through the world and affect it in positive and productive ways. Everything you do as you exist in reality has a knock-on effect. If you're outgoing, you affect people more directly. If you're less outgoing, or you tend to stay to yourself more, you still affect people in ways, just not as directly. And that makes me think of, how do I want to affect the world that is my reality, my reality as it intersects with other people's reality, with the rest of reality. How do I want to affect that? What impressions do I want to make? And as I have said before, I want to affect the world in a positive, creative, and productive and constructive way. And since there's always a lot of talk about the climate, when the weather gets cold and people start using more fuel to heat themselves, there's always more talk about the environment. I want to affect the environment, the natural environment, the environment as it is meant to function by the laws of nature and by the rules of natural selection. I want to affect that environment in the most minimal and positive way that I can. There's no way I can not affect it at all. But if I do affect it, I want to affect it in as positive and constructive way as I can. So how do I want to affect my immediate ecosystem and the broader ecosystem? And it seems to me that the best chance I personally have of creating a positive, constructive, and least damaging effect on my immediate ecosystem and the broader ecosystem possible is by being as physically healthy as I'm capable of being. If I'm physically healthy, then I require less housing. I don't require medical devices, which requires less manufacturing. I require fewer drugs. I might even require less food. People who are healthier tend to eat less for various sundry reasons, in a lot of cases, than people who are less healthy. I require less clothing. I require less transportation if I don't have to go to the doctor a lot. And I'm able to work harder to provide for my own needs. I need less government assistance. Not that I will never need any government assistance, but if I'm healthy and strong and can work to my own benefit, I will, in the long run, need less benefit assistance, less government benefit assistance than someone who is less capable than I am. Now, is this a condemnation of people who are less capable or less healthy? Absolutely not. In my opinion, any culture that wants to consider itself positive or moral or ethical has a duty to support those who are ill or disabled or poor as much as it is realistically, economically able to. So this isn't about condemning other people who might not be as capable as myself. This is about me deciding what I want to do with regard to my own actions in the world. It has nothing to do with anybody else. So if I have determined that me being as healthy and strong and active and capable as possible is my best chance of having a maximal positive impact on my immediate and global environment and minimal negative impact on my immediate and global environment, if that's what I want, and if I have found a way of eating, a method of living that promotes that health and that vibrancy and that capacity to be productive and positive and constructive, and I elect for some reason not to pursue it, then I'm not only acting not in my best interest, I am acting against the best interests of everybody around me and the global community at large. As I have said, I have tried plant-based. It made me sick. It did nothing to treat my depression. Whether it was the cause of my depression is still up for debate, but it did nothing to treat my depression or improve my depression. It may have made it worse if it wasn't the cause of it. A plant-based diet did nothing to improve my health or create the capacity within me to function in the world in a vibrant, productive, constructive, and positive manner. And low carb and carnivore have. This is how I see it. This is why I'm not going back. And this is why I'm convinced that if you've been struggling on a plant-based diet and it's just not doing anything for you, or if your symptoms are getting worse, you owe it to yourself to try something different. You owe it to yourself to do what is necessary to learn to do something different. I realize, and I have said before, not only is it difficult to change overnight, you shouldn't do it. But you should take steps. You should take steps for the new year. If you've decided you just can't exit yourself from the family celebrations and there's just no way you're going to be able to get out of or away from eating the holiday food, you know what? If that's where you're at, who am I to argue that you don't know what you're doing and that you haven't made the right decision for yourself? But the end of the holiday season is rapidly approaching. And if you want to make that change, it's time to start thinking about it. It's time to get your head on straight. It's time to get into community. And it's time to think about ditching the sugar You owe it to yourself. You owe it to those around your immediate community, those around you. You owe it to the larger community of the world. Because I'm telling you, if you're sick and depressed now, and you don't make a change, you're going to be sicker and more depressed at the end of next year. Where are you going to be on December 9th, 2023? Are you going to be sitting where you are right now? Are you going to be just as sick and just as depressed, or maybe even more, and just as frustrated as you are today? Or are you going to have tried something new, something different, and taken the chance that maybe this is an answer for you too? You know, we're all human beings. We can say some things work better than other things for some people than others. Sure. But when it all comes down to it, we're all human beings and our bodies work the same way. Everybody has different individual metabolic or physical injuries and damages and difficulties. That's true. But when it comes right down to it, we're all human beings. And some of us might require a therapeutic diet until we can recover. But eventually, I am convinced the medical community is going to recognize the value of a meat-based diet. And it may not be in my lifetime. I pray it will be. And it may not be tomorrow, and it may not be next week, and it may not be next year. But the time is coming. The evidence is mounting. The successes of people who have been eating this way, who haven't said anything because, I don't know, they felt ashamed or embarrassed or just felt like there wasn't any point in saying anything. The people who've been already eating meat-based diets or carnivore diets for years, as much as 50 years, are coming forward and saying, yeah, I've been doing this and I've always been healthy. It's time to stop ignoring it, medical community. It's time to stop ignoring it and pretending that these people don't exist and pretending that these people are just some sort of medical anomalies. The human genetic gift is the human genetic gift. We're all human beings. And we all, deep down, metabolically and mitochondrially work the same way. That's just the case. There is no person, saying that, oh, eating meat won't work for me. Well, unless you have a specific disorder that prevents you from eating one or another kinds of meats, and there are a few, that's an injury. And that requires a therapeutic diet. But a natural human diet is meat-based. The evidence exists. It always has existed. It's us that's been pretending that it's wrong. All right? I love you all. Think about this. Think about what you want to do in the new year. Where do you want to be on December 9th, 2023? I want you to be alive and vibrant and happy, and you can do it. I love you all. Peace, love, and meat. I'll talk to you again soon.